Okay, so I'm walking down the streets in Lidcombe and I'm going to give a visit Rookwood Cemetery. Now in Rookwood Cemetery there are about a couple of hundred Commonwealth War Graves from both World War I and World War II. There are mostly Australian, New Zealand, British, and I think there might be some Dutch. So I'm going to go over here. So right now I'm in Rookwood Cemetery. I've finally made the Commonwealth War Graves section after walking through the cemetery for a whole hour, and I'm gonna go have a look, because these are the graves of soldiers who died in World War I and World War II. And if I look over here, we have a grave of a recent guy who died just recently, B.M. Wood. So the thing I like about it is that he's given the same type of memorial as all the others who died in the First World War and the Second World War. Now when you look at the graves, you notice what part of the military they served. This man here served in the Royal Australian Navy. This man here served in the Australian Army. And this man here served in the Australian Air Force. You can notice with the wings. Now this is the grave of D. Beggs, Australian Women's Army Service. She was a gunner. She died the 4th of February 1944, age only 19. Now this man's grave doesn't have a cross, so it probably means that he was atheist or agnostic. Because all these other people have crosses to represent that they were Christian, and if they were Jewish they would have had a Star of David. But this man here has got nothing at all. And it's a rarity to find war graves that don't have a cross or a Star of David or a Islamic writing. Aircraft woman D.J. White, Women's Australian Air Force, died aged 22. She answered her country's call. So here we have the grave of A.R. Welch, able seaman of the Royal Navy, died 10th of June 1945. So the reason why I can tell that he's British is because this is a common naval symbol given on people's graves who died fighting for the Navy. Well, the British Navy to be precise. Now here's another grave of a British chap, G.A. Rowbottom, Ordnance Artificer 4th Class, HMAS Indefatigable, died 23rd of June 1945. And then next towards him is another British man of C.W. Loyal, another Navy guy. And here we have still Australian Army people. That person's a Royal Air Force, or Royal Australian Air Force. Yep, Royal Australian Air Force. Another Royal Australian Air Force. This one. J.F. Harrison he's a light horse. And let's see. Australian Army. Wait. Royal Australian Engineers. My great uncle served in the Royal New Zealand Engineers. G.N. Taylor, L.W. Wilkinson, Australian Air Force, Army, Australian Air Force, Australian Army, Light Horse. Let's see. Australian, Australian Air Force, Australian Army, Australian Army, Australian Army, Australian Army, Australian Army, Australian Army. Kind of nice. He's got my name, Abe Martin. It'd be so weird if I found this guy was Anthony Martin. No, here. And also here, this is a sign. Dearly beloved husband of Madame Lou Gardo. Now right here is the cross of sacrifice. You find these in every Commonwealth War cemetery around the world. It's to tell people that these soldiers here all sacrificed their lives for the sake of peace. Now here's the grave of C. Simmons. He was a lieutenant aircraftsman of the Royal Air Force. He died 3rd of March 1945, aged 28. Next to him is another British man, W. Linham, the air mechanic, 2nd class. He also died 3rd of March. And this person here, D. Dwyer, able seaman of the British Navy. He died 26th of February 1945. And then we got an Australian here of a telegraphs for the Royal Australian Navy, and then another British Navy guy, and then an Australian, another Australian, and then another British guy, J.H. Rogers. So here we have the grave of a Jewish Australian who died during World War II, F.G. Kimmelman, and he served in the Royal Australian Air Force. He was only 20 years old. His Star of David shines out amongst all these other crosses here. Now here is the grave of E.G. Mclin. He served in the Royal New Zealand Navy. He was killed in action the 10th of July 1945, aged only 22. F.G. Dollimore, Chief Petty Officer of the Royal Navy, died 21st of July 1945, age 35. Now we have another British Navy guy here, E. Carleton, or how you pronounce it. Another British man of T.B. Lloyd, and another British chap of W.J. Jackby. And this is definitely another British guy, T. Taylor RME of the Golden Hinds, died 1st of August 1945. Now British Navy, British Navy, British Navy, another British Navy, British Navy, British Navy, another Royal Marine Engineers, but yet again still British. Most of these people here are British. These are British Navy people. That guy over there, D-Mine, Royal Air Force. So, yeah, most of these people here are British. That guy could be Irish with a surname Byrne. Yeah, because like I had a priest that in Balcombe Hill is called Paddy Byrne. Navy, 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 Navy. British Air Force, Flight Engineer A.S. Stevenson. Navy, Air Force, Navy, Air Force, British Navy, and New Zealander. R.F.F. Hildreth, Royal New Zealand Air Force. You see, I don't really like when a New Zealand is buried there. It just simply says Air Force, Army, Navy. I mean, why can't they just have like a proper logo, like with the, like this one, like that's, if you see a grave like that, that means Royal Australian Army. Now, we have the grave of Private H. Paton of the Gordon Highlanders. So I'd be assuming he's a Scot. Died 27th of May 1945. Now here's another familiar grave I've seen. This guy, E.J. Worrell, served in the Suffolk Regiment. Died 29th of August 1945. This guy, Major L.F.R. Slayton, he served in the Royal Engineers. Killed in action 9th of July 1944. This man is also British, E. Davey, Royal Artillery. He's another British air serviceman, or air craftsman, as I should say. He's another Royal Artillery, D-Mine of the Royal Air Force. So, British. Now here we have the unusual grave of Inspector of Stories W.R. Nicholas, Admiralty Civil Serviceman, died 6th of November 1945. So this man was probably a news reporter, like he reported about war. This grave belongs to a Marine, G.H. Mills, R.M., HMS Formidable, died New Year's Day 1946, age only 20. Now I've just found the grave of SS Roseberry, and he was a major. He served in the Army Medical Corps. He died 1st of February 1946, age only 55, and he was Jewish. So his grave quote says, "His goal enlightened his path, service to humanity, beloved by all." And that's a very fitting gravestone.